Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I'd share with you some of the traveling mistakes I have made so far. So I'm going to say it right off the bat. Every time I go traveling, I'm sure the same goes for you, I always forget one thing. So I'm not going to have a list of all the one things I forgot because I've forgotten my jacket, I've forgotten my charger, I've forgotten where I put my shoes. I did not forget the shoes. I just ended up putting some firewood in front of them and couldn't find them later on. And the list just goes on and on, so I'm not even gonna worry about that. This also isn't a list of common mistakes that people make when traveling. This is just literally the stupid things that I have done, and if I can share my experiences with you to help maybe save you from future embarrassment, then my job is done. So enough with the intro, let's get started. So when we were in Ohio, I brought a phone charger for me and my phone, Lonnie brought a charger for him and his phone, and I did not pack one for the GoPro. But I always keep a charger in my car, so I had the smart idea is take the charger out of my car so I could charge the GoPro overnight. Well, I never put the charger back in my car. The one time I do not have a charger in my car is the one time where I don't know what it was about the area that we were in, but it sucked the life out of our phone so fast that Lonnie's phone died and mine was at like 20% when I realized that like we weren't going to make it and we were still like on the trail and needed the phone to get back to where we were staying afterwards. So I ended up powering off my phone, being like, okay, won't take pictures for the rest of the time, no problem. And our way back to the hotel should only be about 20 minutes, 20% should be no problem. So we get into the car and I turn my phone back on. We're at 20%. The 5 seconds it takes to drive from the parking spot to out of the parking unit, I dropped down 2%. We were not even a half mile away from the point where I turned the phone back on, and we were at a left turn light and the light was red and I had like 8% left on my phone, and by the time the light turned green my phone was dead and we had to get back home based on memory. Oh, and for the record, that has never happened again. Okay, moving on. Last year we took a trip to Toronto. One of the things I didn't account for was when we arrived at our hotel, I knew that the hotel didn't provide parking. So when we got there, we found a parking lot. We were like, okay, this is really close to our hotel. It was the first one we found close by. So we're like, okay, we'll park here. It says it's 24-hour surveillance. And there was a box thing that you put your money into and it gives you the ticket for the 24 hours. I'm like, okay, cool. It was $20. Okay, fine, whatever. Like, I'm not gonna worry about it. I don't want to drive around and waste more time after the hours it took driving there. So the next day, if we arrived there at noon the day before, we got there at like 11:30 to pay for another 24 hours because we wanted to go start our day. We couldn't do that. The pay meter would charge me $20 and then only renew me till noon. So I had to wait till after 12 o'clock to pay for 24-hour parking. So I'm like, okay, well, supposed to be somebody on site also 24 hours. And there was nobody in the booth. I'm like, okay. So I try to call the number that's on there. The number is like going to nobody. Like it just keeps ringing, nothing happens. So I'm looking around the parking lot and I realize there are no cameras here. So there's nobody guarding and there's no cameras. And I'm paying $20. We ended up having to wait a half hour until after the 12 o'clock and ended up putting another $20 in and just being super angry about it and hangry because we didn't eat yet. And yeah, that was the start to our actual first day in Toronto. Happy, sad news, we ended up meeting somebody and the guy tells me that he comes here all the time and actually just parks in a parking structure that's literally kitty corner from where we were. It was a parking structure that did have cameras and it was $5 a day. Moral of the story on that one is to, if there is no free parking, make sure you actually investigate parking in the area so that you don't get screwed over like I did. So another mistake I made in Toronto was involving our hotel room. When I was reading through the description for the hotel that we ended up staying at, I did see that there was normally a communal bathroom or you could pay extra for a private bathroom, which I did make sure I paid extra for the private bathroom. But I did not pay attention to the bed size. So when we got there, it was a double-sized bed, which for me isn't a big deal because I'm short, but my husband Sweet Angel, is 6'2". So his calves to his feet were dangling over the edge. Make sure you pay attention to all your hotel amenities. You know what I'm trying to say. So another traveling mistake I made is paying for a very nice hotel room and never actually staying in the hotel. Like, I was gone from 6 in the morning till 9 at night and literally just went there to shower and go to bed. And I'm like, why did I pay extra to have a super nice room if I'm not even going to enjoy it? I was kind of disappointed by that because I feel like it was kind of just money loss. Like, I could have easily have downgraded and it would have been the exact same experience. Now, my next traveling mistake is a very important piece of advice that I want you to heed for the rest of your life. So if you watch my Colorado videos, you may remember from the part where we went to Aspen Glen that I picked up not one but 2 rocks to bring home with me. Now, to further emphasize this, I brought them to show you. 2 rocks. And what I did when we left is I put these rocks in my backpack. And when I packed my backpack, I was like, well, these I'm not going to take out while I'm on the airplane, so I'm going to put it at the very bottom because I'm not going to use these. When we got to the airport and my backpack gets checked, and then I get pulled over the side because there's 2 black objects that look weird that are in my backpack, and now they're searching for a bomb threat. The best part was, at first I didn't even realize I didn't have my backpack. Like, I got my boots on and my jacket and went to Andy and was like, okay, let's go. And then she's like, where's your backpack? And I was like, oh. And I had to turn back and like, they were waiting for me to like go through everything and empty out my bag. So, lesson learned from that is if you're gonna take souvenir rocks when going to the airport, put them in your water bottle holders on the outside or on the very top. Don't put it at the very bottom because, yeah, everything of mine came out. And you haven't seen the backpack that I brought, but I brought the tiniest backpack and that's all I brought with me. So everything was shoved and crammed in there and everything had to come out to get to those beautiful pieces of rock. But yeah, lesson learned. So my next mistake also happened in Colorado. And if you watch the Aspen Glen episode, then you already know what it is. If you're planning to go somewhere and film it, make sure the camera's on and actually filming when you're there. So there was a point where we went to Lily Lake Loop and I had turned the camera on and started going and it was raining and wasn't paying much attention and came back home and I never recorded like actually being on the lake at all. So mad at myself. I'm sorry I let you down. So one of my favorite travel mistake stories that I like to tell is when me and a friend of mine went to Hocking Hills in Ohio. So we got to the area we wanted to park at, and on all like the flat land, the parking spots were full. But I look over and I see that a couple pickup trucks were parked in the middle of like a ditch. And I'm like, well, my car is, pretty off the ground. I should be able to do this too. I drove our one and only vehicle when we're several hundred miles away from home into a ditch on purpose. I drove down slowly and as soon as we hit the bottom, like rolled into the bottom, all I hear was this big boom. And then we came back up the other side and I thought I broke out like the lights in my Jeep. And I go and finally look at the front of my car thinking like my grill is smashed in or something. There is literally dirt and grass wedged on the lining around my intact lights. Could not pull it out though. Had to wait till I got home with a screwdriver and pried out the dirt. It was so wedged in there. Everything worked out, but in retrospect, that was a very, very dumb idea. Like, we could have been stranded so easily. Shout out to Huda for sticking with me and still being my friend after that. So the moral of that story is don't risk the life of your one and only transportation. The more of these I tell you guys, the more I just feel dumb. But you know what? It makes for good stories. And all I do is laugh about each and every one of those now, unfortunately. I can't even start. The worst traveling mistake that I have made, and I have repeatedly made, and people that I travel with continually let me make, is that I cannot talk to individuals of authority. I have several stories on this. I'm only gonna share 2 with you guys though. Both of these stories, by the way, happened while crossing the border from the United States into Canada. So the first time happened, the first time I ever crossed the border from the United States into Canada. Me and Lonnie were heading to Niagara Falls. I was driving and obviously have never been to the border crossing. So we drive up. I hand over the passports to the officer and I see him looking at them. So where are you guys from? Where am I from? What am I supposed to say? Do I tell him the city that I'm in? Because I guess he's looking at my passport, so my address is on there. Do I say I'm from Detroit? Because my city's a small city and Detroit's more well known, because I'm sure he knows people are from Detroit. He probably hears Detroit all day long. I mean, am I being too specific now? Am I supposed to say from Michigan? I mean, this I guess is from the Canadian border, so is he expecting me to say I'm from the United States because I'm going into Canada? Now, as I'm thinking all of this, time is passing. However long that just took me to say, that's how much time has passed. So now I have not only the officer waiting for my response, I also have Lonnie waiting for me to respond. Say something. I am in total shutdown panic mode at the first question this officer asked me. Finally, Lonnie had to step in. Yeah, officer, we're from Detroit on our way to Niagara Falls. Oh, okay then, have a good trip. And I'm just catatonic. So moral of the story on that one, say something. So the second time this happened is when I was going camping with Andy and had brought General with me. We pull up and I roll my window down to greet the officer. So where are you girls heading? And that's when I realized I actually didn't know. I just knew we were going camping in Canada. So what did I say? I don't know, officer, I'm just the driver. And sweet, quick, on her feet, Andy. Hi, officer, we're gonna be camping at Bruce Peninsula. So you'd think Andy saved the day right there, right? Oh, sweet friends. Let the conversation continue. Oh, so you 2 girls are going camping, are you? You didn't bring any weapons with you, did you? So me, living in this dream world I exist in, thought to myself, oh wow, how sweet, this officer's concerned for us 2 girls going camping in the woods by ourselves, making sure that we have some type of protection. What a sweet gentleman this is. So, do you want to know what my response was to this? No, officer, but I brought my dog. And this is when Andy loses all faith in me. And when the officer thinks that this day's about to get even more interesting. Ma'am, can you roll down your window to let me see the dog? Has he bitten anyone before? Has he bitten anyone before? That's a weird statement for him to make, right? No, officer, of course not. I don't know who let me out of the house, guys. And needless to say, the officer asked for General's papers and vaccinations and rabies shot and everything, and I had everything ready to go, and General was smiling out the window at him, wagging his tail, happy as can be, never would bite somebody ever, and we carried on our way. I don't know how we didn't get arrested. Even Andy was like, I can't believe we didn't get arrested. So how was that for a grand finale? Alright guys, that was all the horrible mistakes I could handle telling you in one sitting. If you like this video, please let me know by sending me a like. If you have any stories of traveling mistakes you have made in your lifetime and would like to share, please comment on those down below. Maybe it'll help make me feel like I'm not the only one who does these very strange things. If you guys enjoy my videos, please hit that subscribe button right there so that you guys can get notifications when the new one comes out. As always, don't forget those likes, subscribes, and good vibes, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks. Bye.